So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Christmas in September, which is crazy. Thank you for joining myself and the brilliant Jennifer Kelly tonight. So we are going to be talking to you all about Christmas and how to make the most of it. Please do comment along in the chat with what you love about Christmas. If it is not your first Christmas with Usborne, glad to see you looking very festive, Harry. I feel like me and Jennifer have let the side down. I'm wearing green, which is borderline festive. So yes, good evening, everyone. And if this is your first Christmas with Usborne, please do share what you're excited about as well. And hopefully you will have lots of inspiration following this session. So I am going to share my screen now and share my presentation. Okay, so this is just a brief overview of Christmas and everything that is going on UCP-wise from Christmas. And then you're going to hear from Jennifer, who is one of our leaders, to share her experiences of Christmas and her plans for this year's Christmas as well. So I thought I'd start by sharing a few stats from last year with you, just so if you're new, you can see just why Christmas is so amazing. It's known in the UCP community as silly season, and this is why. So the biggest sales month of 2023 was November, and the second largest was October. And obviously that's quite reflective of like the global sales market, with the festive months being huge for sales around the world. Festive book sales started growing in August, hence why we're doing this now, because it is definitely not too early to start selling Christmas books, because there will be people who are already doing their Christmas shopping now. It's not just sales that are brilliant at this time of year. October was the largest recruiting month of 2023. We didn't have a kit offer. We didn't have, well, we had a recruiting incentive for recruiters, but we didn't have a kit offer. So it wasn't like there was a bumper kit or a reduced price, but it was the largest recruiting month of 2023 because this season is a brilliant time to join. So if you are considering growing your own team, then it's the perfect time for people to join you on your Usborne adventure, so that they can make the most of this amazing sales opportunity and start earning commission really quickly that can make a difference to them and their families. I thought I'd also share with you the highest personal sales each month of the festive period. So these are sales from one person only. So the top seller in September sold £5,152 of books. October, it was 7,179, again, just one person. November, just one person, £9,650 of books. So you're talking almost £2,000 in commission that this person did in the run up to Christmas. And just think what kind of a difference that could make for you, for your family, for your own festive season. And December, which people traditionally see as a quieter month, £4,802. So don't let anyone tell you again that you can't sell in December, because you definitely can place some great orders in December and get selling for that. 20% of the best-selling books for UCP in 2023 were Christmas books. And if you removed the starter kit books, this percentage would have been even higher. So it's a shorter selling window, but the books sell so well. So I thought that would be interesting to you all to see just what can be achieved in this period. So this is a bit of advanced notice for those of you that have attended this session. So this is the first anyone is seeing of this. Each year we do a nurseries pack. So this is a set of 20 of the same book at a reduced price that you can offer to nurseries. And actually, I think it would work well for early years at primary schools as an affordable way for them to buy gifts for their pupils. So every year, my kids have always received a book from their nursery. My daughter got a book from her school last year when she was in reception. So it is something that settings are definitely buying. This year's pack is as below. So it is the first colouring Christmas, and you can order a pack of 20 for £40. So that is just £2 per colouring book. So perfect for building connections with nurseries by offering them this. Great for school grottos, great for grotto gifts in general. But it's something really exciting that you can offer, saving over £59, which is a phenomenal saving. So I have just literally heard from Grant that the stock is due this week, or due to be booked into the warehouse this week. So marketing have told me this offer should, everything going to plan, be going out next week. But I wanted to give you advance notice. So the nurseries pack is coming. If you're not sure what to do with it, then, and it's your first husband Christmas, then do talk to your mentor, because they'll have lots of ideas of what you can do with this. The other key thing is advent calendars. So we have 3 available to you. These are our biggest sellers every single year. These are the biggest selling items. They are high value items, so perfect for you to earn lots of commission on. So there's the red one and the blue one. These are available for you to buy now. These are, the RRP is $19.99. You can get them for $14.99. So they feature 23 mini books and then 1 larger format book. The books in the red and the blue are completely different. So if you have a customer that has bought the red one or the blue one before, they are different. Or if you've got a customer that's got 2 children and they want to buy a different one for each child, so they've got a different range of books, the books are completely different in them. And new for this year is the magic painting advent calendar, where there are mini magic painting books. You get a paintbrush. It's absolutely beautiful. They have thought of everything. You get a little piece of card that you can put to stop the paint from running in the little paintings. Absolutely beautiful. This has not arrived in our warehouse yet. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of shipping delays due to the issues around Africa, I believe, and the piracy issues. But as soon as this comes, everything is prepped and ready to release it to you guys. The RRP is $19.99. Unfortunately, we have just heard that the works have got this at a very cheap price, like they seem to do every year. So we won't be putting it out for you guys at $19.99, because we appreciate that you're not going to be able to sell it at that price when it's cheaper elsewhere. So this will be released as an offer, which is a bit of a shame, because you guys definitely could have sold it for £20 and earned a great amount of commission. But that is coming, and just to kind of allay any fears, it won't be $19.99, because we appreciate that, you know, that's just too difficult for you to manage with your customers. So that will be coming out at an offer price as soon as it arrives off the ship and into our warehouse. So that is advent calendars, but they are a fab sales opportunity for you guys and your customers, and a great way to quickly build up your commission. And finally, on the just key information, the Usborne website, so your templated websites, has a Christmas shop that is now live. So this is a screenshot of just the front bit, but there's loads and loads on there. So there's recommended books divided by age, and there's like divided by interest as well. There's activity sheets that you can download, print off, email to your customers. There's loads and loads on there. So I'd highly recommend you have a browse of it for yourself, particularly if this is your first Usborne Christmas, just to familiarize yourself with what's out there that you might want to be selling, and share it with your customers as well, so that they can see all the amazing array of books that are available for them to purchase from you. So Jennifer's going to share much more about this from her personal experience and what she has done for Christmas and what's worked well for her. But there are so many sales opportunities for you at Christmas. School Christmas fairs, I would say, if this is your first Usborne Christmas and you're struggling to get in with schools, these are really, really key for you. Because they're the easiest way for you to build a quick connection with a school by going on their like Friends of Facebook page or their PTA Facebook page. have a stall at their event, and then build those connections with that school to then work with them in the future. You can also provide grotto gifts for schools as well. Again, the nurseries pack would work well for that. The reading libraries would work well for that. So schools, plenty of opportunities there for Christmas. You've got Christmas markets and events. The one thing to say for that is just be mindful of how much it costs you to have a stall or a stand, and how much you would therefore need to sell to make a profit. So if you paid £100 to be at an event, you're going to need to sell over £400 of books to break even. So just be really, really aware of whatever you paid for something, you're going to have to sell 4 times that before you start making a profit. So amazing opportunity, but I think that's one thing just be mindful of. Stocking fillers. I think Kerry's on this call. She's going to definitely criticise me for the size of any books, but I did a quick search by in stock and by price, lowest to highest, and there were over 200 books for less than £5 on the website. So loads and loads of stocking filler price books, or actually like pocket money price books if you've got school events available. Advent calendars, you've got the ones that are available for you to buy. Lots of partners make personalised advent calendars, which look really, really beautiful. Again, if you love wrapping and you love doing things like that, fab. Be aware of the time that it's going to take you to do these things as well. So just think, what do you enjoy? What do you want to spend your time doing? And what's going to make a profit for you as well? Grotto gifts, again, would be a good one to talk to you about your mentor. And I'm thinking, Jennifer, you're going to talk about grotto gifts later on. So yes, lots of options for those. The reading libraries, we've just had some coming in to stock. And I think some more might be coming as well. So they are the cheapest option, but they are by no means the only option. School and nursery presents, we've already talked about. Pop-up shopping events, like who can you take books to who might struggle to get to books? So can you go to an office where people are struggling to do their Christmas shopping because they work full time? Could you go to a care home because maybe people are struggling to do their Christmas shopping because they aren't that mobile, but actually they want to see something before they buy it rather than buy it online? Or like my gran, they might not be very confident using the internet. So who needs you to bring the books to them? Because remember, that is your USP. You can bring the books to where the people are. Do you live, again, Jennifer's based in Scotland, do you live in a more rural, remote part of the world where actually there aren't loads of shops everywhere? And that, again, is your USP. Are you based outside the UK? And again, your USP is like giving people access to these books where English isn't their first language and where they're not readily available elsewhere. And also just the obvious point about gifts and higher value items. If you're selling a £20 wind up, I know Jennifer loves a wind up, you're going to earn way more commission from a £20 wind up than you would for a like £2.50 Poppy and Sam book. So this is the time when people are spending more money on gift items, the higher price books, which is just a much easier way for you to earn more commission that you can then treat yourself and loved ones with. I thought I would share with you also what our bestsellers were from last year. Sorry, I clicked on too fast. So in September, these were our bestsellers, just to give you a bit of an idea of what you might want to be stocking up with, what you might want to be having at your events. So we had both advent calendars. We had a little sticker dolly dressing Christmas sticker book. I think that was on offer. But again, like great stocking filler or just run up to Christmas activity book. Magic painting, countdown to Christmas. Lots of things to know about dinosaurs was an offer book. But again, those interest level books are absolutely perfect for presents. Lights and Sounds Emergency Vehicles, one of my son's particular favourite books. Sticker Dolly Story, Creaky Castle. Obviously, we also had Halloween, preparation for Halloween in September. So I know we're talking about Christmas, but just flag Halloween as well. Little Board Books Seasons, Miss Molly's School of Making Friends, and again, another Halloween one. But again, you can see the Christmas books are starting to come through and people are starting to get prepared for Christmas and organised already in September. October, I think this was the nurseries pack book, the first colouring book Christmas. We also had Countdown to Christmas, which is really fab. Both Advents again, sticker dollar dressing, magic painting. Then we had the Christmas sound book, the first sticker book for Christmas. The Missing Unicorn, didn't realise it had been out that long, and first magic painting Christmas. So you're starting to see it's going full on festive in October. And November, fairy magic went absolutely mad last year. And we have got 2 new ones coming this year, the wizard one and unicorn magic, I believe. Again, Christmas, 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 Winter Wonderland, essentially Christmas, Santa's Christmas Journey, good old wind up, that would have earned someone a good amount of commission, sparkly Christmas trees, and fingerprinting Christmas, which is great stocking filler. So you can see people are selling festive books. Before I hand over to Jennifer, the last note I wanted to leave you with is just think outside the box. People that have seen previous training sessions that I've run know that there is, so I live on a housing estate, and there is someone on my estate who has like a craft business, and she organises trails for like everything. So she's done Christmas, Easter, Halloween. I think she did a random summer one. And you pay a small fee. She does like a treasure hunt around our estate, and then your child gets like a crafty thing afterwards. So the Christmas one, she did like a personalized Christmas tree decoration, which was really nice. I can't remember what she did for Halloween last year, but it was like an afternoon activity, less than £10, and your child got something as well. I was looking at my local farm park and how much that would cost me and my husband to take our 2 children to a farm park for their Christmas event. You're talking about £150 for 4 of us to go and do that, when we could pay about £8 for our kids to do something and get a personalised Christmas tree decoration and have an afternoon activity. So like you could easily do something like that where the child gets a nice book afterwards. And yeah, and it's a much cheaper thing for people to enjoy with their children. We've already talked about old people's homes, and just think, so I'm mainly thinking about my gran, and just that generational thing of just wanting to see something in the flesh before you purchase it. Lots of local organisations. I know lots of you do fundraisers every year for food banks to provide books as well. I know some of you have worked with fostering agencies and local councils. So who wouldn't ordinarily have Christmas books, books for Christmas, or who wouldn't maybe have access to things that you would like them to have access to for Christmas? And can you do a fundraiser to do something about it? One of my friends is a social worker, and they have a budget for Christmas presents for their children. So it's not even necessarily fundraisers. Some organisations do have budget to spend on things, and you could support with that. Like book subscriptions, could you do a book subscription for Christmas? So every month for the rest of the year, the child gets a book that suits their interests. There's so many things that you could do, and I know Jennifer's going to go through lots of ideas as well. You could do absolutely anything, and I think that's what's so exciting about Christmas, is working out what you enjoy, what you like, and how you can just have fun with it as well. So that was very whistle stop, and I think very fast, but I'm going to hand over to Jennifer now, and there will be time for questions, I'm sure, at the end, which I know Jennifer's happy to answer. So if you want to write any questions in the chat as we're going along, then we can answer those at the end. So I'm now going to hand over to Jennifer.
All right. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, that there's about 90 people in here, but I'm excited because I love the Christmas season. I've been an husband partner now for 3 years. This is my 3rd year in September. And what I thought I would do is I would talk through my September to December last year kind of sales, where I got them from, and what my focus kind of was each month. I don't know that I'd realised I was doing a focus each month, but it kind of looks like it when I wrote it all down. And then I'll tell you what I've done this year, and yeah, answer any questions. And I hope that you can pick out a few things that are helpful that you can use this season. The first thing I wanted to say was about schools and nurseries. I know I'm not really talking about that, but last year I did two school fairs and a nursery fair, which all did really well, mainly because people were buying Christmas gifts as well. So they were buying something there and then for their child, but then they were also given a list of what they would get for other people for Christmas gifts. So it's definitely worthwhile contacting schools and nurseries for the next few months to get in and good sales. So in September, I advertised the advents, and a lot of what I'll say probably crosses over with what Lucy's also said. But I sold 46 of the blue advents, and I did that just through my social media. I posted on my page and my group, and I then shared that to like my local mums group, and that just basically blew up. So that was amazing because from just that order of 46, it was like an almost £700 order. So I got £68 of free books and I got £165 in commission just from selling one item. So people definitely buy them in September. So I would say that get a focus on getting the advents out there. Last year I just focused on the blue. This year I've gone back to all those customers and I have offered them the red, and I've already got about 14 that have ordered that. So yeah, that was the first thing. The other types of advents that Lucy kind of mentioned, I sold a couple of the Christmas maze jigsaws. I didn't personally make up the advent, but I kind of put it across to my customers that they could do that themselves. And one of my teacher friends actually got it for her class as an alternative for an advent. So the kids came up and chose a couple of pieces, and by the end they put it together, and she absolutely loved it. The fact that she's bought more jigsaws from me for her class because they really enjoyed it. So that was good. And I got a couple of good big customer orders last September as well. So I know personally I've started my Christmas shopping already. So I know that people are thinking about it. So definitely don't shy away from posting our nice gift books and saying, these are Christmas ideas. We only actually have a couple of paydays before Christmas. So that was my September last year. That was my kind of focus. Into October, I had two things mainly. My grottos, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do a wish list Wednesday with my customers. So when I post things, I encourage them, if they like the look of it, to write hashtag wish list on it. And I then keep a note of all of that. Because it might be so they see something that they want to gift or that they don't need right away, but that they would like it in the future. So I keep a note of that. And every couple of months, I'll maybe do a wish list Wednesday where they get 10% off anything they order from their wish list. And that kind of generates sales because people are like, oh, what have I got on my wish list? And then they'll maybe add a few books on as well because they're ordering. So I would definitely do that with your customers if you don't already, just generally speaking, because it also gives you an idea of what other people are liking the look of, and then you can kind of tailor what you're posting. So grottos is my big one. I love a grotto order. For the last 2 years, that's been my kind of real focus on Christmas. So I'll talk a wee bit more about that. In 2022, my grotto orders were actually £5,989 worth, which was just massive. Last year it wasn't as much, but I'll tell you why. It was £2,573 worth of grotto orders that I got last year. And my main order was actually from a shopping centre. So I just pinged off an email just thinking, well, what's the worst that can happen? They just don't get back to me. And suddenly they came back and said, I'd love to hear what you've got on offer. And then they used me and got over 2,000 books. The second year they didn't buy as many because they didn't want any books crossing over, so it was a bit harder with box sets to work that out, but it was still a huge order. And they're doing it again this year. but I've actually passed it on to a couple of my teammates because they wanted wrapping this year. And it's just not something that I could manage. So a couple of my teamies are doing that for me, which is brilliant because it means that they get a big order. And we're still keeping that connection with the shopping centre. My kind of key places that I've done growth orders for have been pubs, the shopping centre, toddler groups, school PTAs, soft plays, inflatables, hotels. I know that a few of my teammates have done council ones or football stadiums, play spaces, nurseries, literally anywhere that is hosting a breakfast with Santa or a grotto, get in contact with them. The way I've been looking for grottos is thinking locally. So where I know does grottos locally and getting in touch with them just literally through Facebook. You can also do searches on Facebook for events and it will give you, you can search, Santa and it will come up with different events. Say, don't limit yourself to local places because we obviously can send books anywhere, or just Google. And I think the key thing is to follow up. So I know it can feel quite disheartening when you don't get a reply from someone right away. So I usually Facebook message them and then I take a note of who I'm messaging. And then within the next week to 2 weeks, I'll message again and just say, just wondering if you've had a think about that. If you're sorted, that's no problem. Or I send them pictures to give them an idea. And some will come back and say that they've already got. Some will come back and say, can you email this person? And I think it's just taking a note that you then email them so you can again follow up with them. And I think it's kind of like a community book pledge where you have to sometimes reach out to a lot of places to get, it only took one email for me to get, a £2,500 order from one place, just because I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose by actually emailing them. So my thing would be, don't give up on grottos, because I know it's a bit like, oh, if people don't get back to you, but sometimes it's just a bit of a numbers game. But yeah, I love them. And I've got people that I've done regularly. And like one of the pubs that I did 2 years ago came back to me last year and gave me other pubs that within the same chain. And I worked with them. Some of them then, things have closed or there's been changes to the pubs and things, so I didn't do them. But I think it's again reaching out to the places that you know. Yeah, it's really once you get, it's like almost an easy sale, I feel, because once you've got the contact and they've decided on what they want, it's yeah, it's put the order through and that's it. And I'm just seeing people are loving the growth ideas, and yeah, over 2,000 last year. So there are places out there looking for gifts from us. Coming into my November, I did more growth orders because some needed to wait until a certain time of the year to put the payment through. So it's not too early to contact them now and then have it noted that you need to get back in touch and that they're going to order with you at a later date. My customer orders, so a few of my customers quite like to see the catalogue. So whether it's, I always post the catalogue in my group so that people can look online at it. And sometimes it's quite nice to flick through as opposed to having to look on the website, or an in-person catalogue I give them out. I also put catalogues into my workplace. So I work in a school, so the staff room, they get that. And then just posting on social media and being consistent in the run up to Christmas, and posting different books for different ages and mentioning Christmas and saying this would be a great gift for such and such people who enjoy this, so that people think, oh, that's actually, I've got someone who would like that. Osborne hopefully will do a Christmas sale at that time of year because they usually do. So again, I usually get quite a lot of sales from the Christmas books in the sale. And doing stalls. I live in quite a small place, and they do a really lovely winter festival over a couple of weeks. So I always do one of the weekends. I think Christmas can be hard because it's finding a balance between your family life and doing things, but also business and working. So I always set aside one weekend that I Osborne, and other weekends I'm doing things with my daughter or whatever else. But last year at my winter festival, I took £510 on the Saturday, which was more than the year before. I took about 400 the year before. And I also did a village fair, which was the day after, but it's interesting what Lucy was saying about older generation coming out and not being able to see books. I didn't think I was going to make that much at it, but it was a small village. All of the old people came out because they don't get into town, and I sold £450 worth of books that day. So yeah, don't write off little places just because you think, oh, I'll probably not make that much. I also did a school holiday tea, which I knew I wasn't going to make that much money at, but for me, I'd never worked with them before, so it was again to get my foot in the door there. And since then, I'm delivering books from a community book pledge I did. I've got a book fair booked with them for this November. So I made about £100 at that. But I also then gained some new customers who hadn't seen the books, who then in December ordered from me. So yeah, it's about the bigger picture sometimes with stalls. They're not always about you're going to make loads of money, but it's about creating customer bases and getting in there with schools and things. So that was November. Sorry if I feel like I'm just listing off things at you. And then into December, I had already kind of started this in the November, but I really wanted to do something for a local charity. And I've got a Home Start near me who support young families, and I wanted to gift them books at Christmas. So in the November, I set up a Just Giving page, which I shared on my social media, just explaining that I wanted to gift books to children in our area. And this isn't my idea. This was stolen, I think, from someone in my executive, Hayley, who also suggested when doing a stall to have like a donation tin or allow people to buy books to gift straight away. So at my November stalls, I had a wee sign up to say, you know, if you'd like to gift a book, then you can choose something off the stall, or they could donate money. And there was quite a lot of people. Sometimes you feel some people say at stalls, oh, I've not got any wee ones to sell to buy for, sorry. But actually they were like, oh, but I'd love to donate. So they bought a book and put it in the donation. So overall, I got £50 worth of books at the stall and £110 on my Just Giving page. And then I was able to place that order at the start of December to get it delivered to them, but it also meant I was December active. So that's something I'm going to do again this year. So I know lots of people do for food banks and other charities, but it's definitely worthwhile thinking about that now so that you can implement that on the run up. And certainly having the donations at the stall worked really well for me. So that's another tip. In terms of stalls, I don't shy away from our higher ticket items because I find I always sell them. So like Lucy was saying earlier about the wind-ups, I did a stall on Sunday and I only actually had 3 wind-ups with me, but I sold the 2 fire engines within 10 minutes. And the wind-up, no, the pullback train I sold later on that day. So always make sure I've got my wind-up at the front. I have that going and going and going because it just captures people's attention and they stop at the stall because of it. Or it just means they have a nice conversation with you and no one has seen that type of book before. So definitely do have a couple of wind-ups with you. And as we say, they are higher ticket items, so you're making more money when you sell them. I actually sold in August my wind-up sleigh, my Santa's Christmas journey sleigh that I had, which hopefully is coming back into stock soon. But I always have my light and sound books, I don't tickles, and I show them to people. So I always open them up and press the buttons to show them and let them listen to the music because they're so special that actually once they see them, people can't help but actually buy them. So I always make sure I've got a really good selection of sound lights books and are what I deem my special books. And always have a selection of magic painting and the sticker dolly dress and sticker books because if they have a child with them, they'll quite often buy an activity for them to do and they sell really well for me. But I think one of the biggest things is have a range of stock so that you can meet the needs of lots of different people and interact with the customers and just engage. I very rarely sit down at a stall. I'm always standing and just chatting to people and showing them things. I always say pick up the books, flick through them, and if they seem a bit, I say that as I do it so that they can, it encourages them to actually pick up the books. Or if they're browsing and they don't have a child with them, I'll maybe say, oh, are you shopping for an age in particular that I can help you with? And then you can kind of direct them, because some people don't quite know what fits what age group, especially if they're buying for like a grandson or something. Um, and I have been very lucky that I've been able to sell so much stock at my stalls because I've had a lot of stock, and I've had a lot of stock because of my free books. So working now to get lots of big orders means you get more free books, means you have more books to then sell at your Christmas events, and you're making more money off of those free books. So yeah, don't wait until like November to think Christmas. Definitely start now, because you can start bulking all your books. And going on to this year, as I've already said, I've already messaged my previous customers about Advents and got orders for that. I've looked through and I've messaged all my grotto orders from last year, and some of them have got back to me. Some of them haven't, so I'll need to chase them up. I've looked for new grotto order places and I've messaged them, and I've gotten some orders already. I've got lots of people that haven't replied to me yet, so it's not like I'm getting loads and loads of people coming back to me. But I know that I will follow up with them and see how that goes. I'm booked into my 2 Christmas fairs, and I need to book my toddler group. That's what's still to do on my list. And thinking about ways to find events, usually through Facebook. Contact schools or nurseries, or ask friends and family if their child's school are running anything, and see if you can get in there. There's groups on Facebook, like in Scotland, there's like fairs in Scotland, so there'll be, I'm sure, lots of different areas will have them where people are posting about events. If I see somebody is hosting a grotto, but it's not an event I would go to, I quite often comment on it to say, unfortunately, I couldn't make your event. However, if Santa's looking to gift books, I'd love to help with that. And I sometimes get messages then and get orders through that. So just a quick, simple comment can then get me, a box set sold. My other tip would be for creating online events. So you can put your orders through that. You can share the link, obviously, to your social media, but you can order through that and it builds your orders up, and then you get more of your free book allowance. I've done my daughter's nursery gifts the last 2 years. So 2 years ago we did books. Last year I did a colouring book. So again, think about your own children, and as Lucy said, the gifts that they are going to get, can you offer your services to them? I think it's just about letting people know what you can offer them. And really my big tips are just enjoy it, because Christmas is fun. And you're getting loads of amazing books out there, whether it's for them to use right now or as gifts. And some children, it might be the only book they buy from you. And just feel good about that, and just keep sharing what you can do on your social media. Keep messaging grottos, don't give up. And also, anytime I get an order, I take a picture of it and I post a delivery picture on my social media, because quite often then I get other people saying, oh, can you show me inside that book? Or I've not seen that book before. So again, it just gets the books out there to your customers. I think I've just talked at you quite a lot, so I hope that's helpful. If people have questions, I'll maybe think of other things I've maybe missed. But yeah, that's what I've got for you just now.
That was absolutely brilliant. And you didn't talk at us or ramble. There were so many ideas, and I saw so many people frantically writing notes of things that they're going to try as well. So there were a few questions. I think you did slightly answer them, but maybe you could expand slightly more. The first question I will answer, because it was about the graphic, I think, for the nurseries offer. So that will be available when the offer is made live, which should be next week. But this was just a bit of advance notice for anyone on this call that it's coming. So yes, but they're always available on tools and downloads to download those graphics, and they'll be linked out from the email that you'll get as well. So the first question was about when is the best time to contact nurseries about the nurseries pack, and also what would you say to them in your contact to them?
I would I would say as soon as it comes out, contact them and just say, are you looking to gift? Do you or ask whether they gift gifts at Christmas? I think most do. My daughter's nursery have Santa that comes in, but I know some that just say there's been a delivery and that they gift. So I would definitely get in there quickly. Um, the manager at my daughter's nursery hadn't thought about using me when I said, I could get you books, and she was like, "Oh, we usually get books, but we usually get them, from the works. But what could you do?" So it's just about letting them know that you can offer that and what you can offer. So I would just say that from now, they'll be starting to think about the run up. Plant the seed anyway.
And I've seen a question from someone that wasn't here right at the start. So the nurseries pack this year is a colouring book, and you will be able to should be released next week because it's due at the warehouse this week. And you can get 20 copies of it for £40. So it works out at £2 per colouring book, saving £59 on the RRP of those colouring books. So great thing, as Jennifer said, to offer as gifts. Any advice on contacting grottos for people that aren't having any luck? I know you've said the kind of fortunes in the follow-up, but what kind of things do you say? Like, what are your subject lines, opening lines that you say?
Um, I just introduce myself. I try and keep it quite brief. I introduce myself and just say, I see that they're advertising their Santa event this year and wonder whether they have their gift yet, and if not, would they like to gift Lovely Osborne books? And I can help with that. And it would be from ATP a book. Look forward to hearing from them. I kind of leave it quite short. When I email, I've made a Word document that's got some information at the top about me. Thanks for considering me, my contact details, and then some pictures of the different sets so that I can just fire that off quickly, attach it to an email so that it's not waiting on them getting back to me and then me sending it out. I just have that document and attach it to the email straight away. Um, and my captions are just like Christmas gifts, Santa books, nothing that imaginative, to be honest.
And you also went through this a bit, but what are your tips for building up stock for events? And I guess, what is your advice for people for whom it's their first Christmas and they might not have that many books? What would you say to them?
I think I'd just be quite mindful about what you buy for a stall when you've got your free books or if you're choosing them. Certainly, I've been very lucky. I've built up a good customer base, so my sales are quite good, which means my free book allowance is always quite healthy. And I think sometimes that does take time, but I think at Christmas it could be well worth. I don't sell a lot of Christmas books on stalls, but I personally don't buy a lot in. I think sometimes through fear of them not selling and then maybe kind of left with them. So when it comes to November stalls, mainly I'll maybe have some smaller Christmas books, but I don't tend to buy a lot of. I don't have a whole stall of Christmas books. Just I would say prioritize books that you know that you can sell all year round. If you've only got a small selection, so that you're not stuck with a whole lot of Christmas books if they don't sell. Um, and yeah, just do what's best for you because some people are quite happy to buy books and make that investment. Some people can't do that. So focus on getting some grotto orders or selling advents or something to boost up what your order would be so that you get more free books. And if you're in your first 6 weeks, then work really hard because you get 20% free books, and that's like amazing, especially this time of year.
And just seen a question actually, which I will quickly answer. Oh yeah, about the reading library books not to be sold separately. You're not selling them separately. You are selling the pack, and those people aren't selling it separately because they're giving them as individual grotto gifts. So yeah, you're absolutely fine because you're not selling them separately, you're selling them as a pack. There was a question which I feel like, Helena, this is probably the world's trickiest question, which is what book would you offer for a young baby for a grotto gift?
I have used, and it's not out yet, and I'm really hoping that it's coming out, is the Advent bookshelf because they're beautiful picture books. Some of them are Christmas and some are stories and fairy tales. And I always say, you know, you can read to a baby. So even if it's that a book, they can still gift that. Closer to Christmas, sometimes there's other special offers. So I know people that have used, there was a board book set out one year, so I know people used that. Sometimes if you're closer to Christmas and it's the sale, some people manage to get off the sale books. So just remember that any book can be read to a baby, any fairy tale, any story. That's what I say.
And I think that's interesting actually, because also with I remember when I think my daughter Poppy, so she's in October, which is technically a Halloween baby. So she was tiny for Christmas, and like obviously she was probably asleep while I was reading this to her, but I'm pretty sure I got her like the night before Christmas or like those kind of traditional stories because I enjoyed reading them. And I was at an event with Darlene and Laura in the summer, and this woman had, yeah, really small baby, and she bought this illustrated story collection because I think she got the Just So stories or something because that's what she enjoyed reading and that's what she wanted to read to her baby as well. So I think, yeah, interesting point on that one. So Mal has asked, do you pass discount to grottos at all? I think people sometimes sell themselves short and wondered what your take is, please.
So on some, yes, I have. So for example, the shopping centre, I gave a 10% discount because I knew that if they were going to order, it was going to be a big order, so that would be worth it. I also gave the pub that introduced me to like 6 other pubs, I gave them a 10% discount. But otherwise, no, unless it's a charity, I would give a discount if it's a charity. But that's just personal preference. At the end of the day, it's coming out of your commission. And I think if someone is getting a book for 80 pence or a pound, that's a good deal. And they're good books. So I don't think there's a need to discount it, but I do think it's just personal preference.
Um, there's a question about the Advent bookshelf coming back. I can't actually answer that one. I would need to ask Grant about that one. It's not a new title, so it always depends on whether other sales divisions have ordered it as well. So I'm not sure whether that one is coming back or not. But there's been that many things stuck on ships off the coast of Africa that I could not actually tell you what is coming and what isn't. Anything, this may be a difficult question, but anything that you've done in previous years that you wouldn't do again and why?
Hmm. Um, Not that I can think of. Nothing is glaringly like jumping out at me like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Um, I would say just be mindful of your time. So don't think, oh, it's Christmas, there's loads of fairs and book into something every weekend because you have to be realistic about how much they're costing, the time that you're spending there, how much stock you have, time to reorder if you're doing a quick order for the next time. Um, yeah, don't. I think your time is valuable, so think carefully about what events you choose to do and what's your purpose behind doing them. Um, I suppose when I first started that first year, I did a lot of stalls, but I was kind of finding my feet, and I found what kind of markets locally for me worked and what didn't work. Um, and sometimes it takes some trial and error, but don't overload yourself because Christmas is a busy time anyway, and family wise. Um, yeah, that's probably that. Just be mindful of the amount of money you're putting out on stalls and whether it's going to be worth it or not, and what your aim is for them. Is it to sell or is it to get a link with a school? Is there a bigger picture in there?
And for those of you that don't know, Usborne's not Jennifer's full-time job. She's a teacher as well and mum. How do you balance your time, Jennifer, with work, your daughter, and Usborne?
Um, I do a lot of Osborne at night. So when she's in bed and I just say, right, I'm going to do a wee half an hour of pinging messages for grottos, and that's what I do. Or I'm going to do a bit of recruiting, that's what I do. And at my break at lunch, if I've got any messages, I try to get back to people. I think it's just finding pockets of time. What I have realised is that I used to sit and watch an awful lot of TV. And rather than doing that so much now, I'll not focus on that. I'll work on my business. And it's just about prioritizing your time, I think. Yeah, I think I have in my head wee to-do lists of I need to do this. So I set wee chunks of time aside to do it. And balancing the weekends of my husband looks after Rose while I do stalls. I know lots of people take their kids to stalls. Rose sometimes comes to help me set up, but I've yet to brave her staying with me for a whole stall. Um, yeah, and or also like toddler groups. Um, there's a toddler group that I take Rose to, and I sell my books while I'm with her. So I just set them up, and then we go and play, and people have a look at them and things. And then towards the end, people make sales. So that if you are going with a child, then toddler groups are great because you'd be going anyway, and you can make money at the same time and make some more connections with other parents.
And what does Christmas mean for you? Like, what does having your Usborne business at Christmas enable you to have as a family or do as a family?
Last year, my husband business just paid for all my Christmas gifts for for everybody, which was amazing. And we like to go away in October holidays, so I've just booked a few nights away, and that was my commission that paid for that. And I love that I've got something that's mine that I've worked hard for that's aside from my work. Um, yeah, that it gives me extra money to boost what I can do. It means that we can go and do adventures, or we can have an overnight here or there. We can go out for dinner. Um, and all the things that come up at Christmas that you want to do. You want to go and see Santa and do all these things that all cost money. So my husband business pays for that, which is amazing.
And final question for you, unless anyone else has any questions. Oh, sorry, there's a question about the advents. They won't go back up to 19.99. They will stay at 14.99. So yeah, they'll stay at that. We do a Black Friday sale. It is stock dependent. So as with like all businesses, sales are based on stock. So if there's not loads of a book, it wouldn't go on sale. Just a note, so we tend to coincide Black Friday with Black Friday. So we're set by whatever the date of Black Friday is. It's usually short and sharp. And Jennifer's already covered this, but it will always be Christmas books. It's not going to be anything other than Christmas books. So don't hold back ordering something that is not Christmassy, because it won't. I'll pre-warn you, it will not be in the Black Friday sale. They will just be Christmas books. So don't put off ordering other things that your customers want, because they won't be in the sale. It will just be Christmassy books, although still great nonetheless. So yes, I think that's those ones. So my final question for you is, which books that are coming out or have recently come out are you going to have on your stalls or be recommending on your social media, to put you on the spot? Which ones are going to be your must-haves?
The Wizard wand when it comes out, and the lights and sounds. I love the mermaid lights and sounds. I know it's not new. That's my favorite. I sell that every stall. But that range, because everybody is like, oh, that's so cool. It's got the sounds as well as the lights. So they're my definite must-haves on a stall.
Thank you so much for your time this evening and all your hints and tips. Those of you on the calls, could you please add into the comments, what are you going to do this Christmas? So what have you had tonight that you think, yeah, I'm going to give that a go? Or what do you do every year that you love doing and you know you're going to do again this year? If you could share in the comments, that would be great. Thank you, everyone that's already sharing what they're going to get doing in the comments. And yeah, I think that was just so helpful, so reassuring, absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for spending your evening with me delivering this, and a huge thank you to the enormous amount of you that have turned up to watch this tonight, to work on your Christmas business. And I think, like Jennifer said, think of all the things that it's enabled her family to have because of the work she does with Osborne, that they wouldn't otherwise be able to have. So super, super exciting. And yeah, massive thank you to all of you for commenting with what you're going to do. It sounds very, very exciting. And yeah, enjoy. If it's your first Christmas, enjoy. And yeah, do share what you're up to with us. So I'm going to stop recording.